Hello and welcome to the BFB podcast. I'm your host, David Watson, also known as DWStorm. Today, we have a vegetable on the panel, Onion, also known as Hal.
Hello.
And we also have Tobias, also known as So Ugly.
Hello. I'm not so ugly.
You are watching Brickfilmers blog.
Yeah, let's animate like crazy now. Yeah, let's animate like crazy now. Yeah, let's animate like crazy now. Yeah, let's animate.
Okay, so first we are, as of course we have Hal, aka Onion, for this podcast, so we'll ask him some questions about Festival of Souls 2. So Onion, could you tell us about what Festival of Souls 2 is and where it is hosted, for the listeners who may not know about it?
Okay, well, the Festival of Souls is essentially a horror contest, although it's usually hosted around September, October time, so you could basically class as a Halloween contest. And it's currently being hosted on Bricks in Motion.
Do you think it will go as well as last year?
Well, you see, last year a lot of people were new to the fact that, you know, it's a horror contest hosted by somebody who they haven't seen much from, really. I mean, like, it's not like I've been around for years when I hosted it. I've only been around for a few months. So that was, I don't know, maybe that might have put some people off, I don't really know. But we got a total of 25 entries. YouTube actually helped because it got a lot of publicity that way. And yeah, so we did get quite a few entries, but I think this year maybe because a lot of people now know about it and they already knew that it went down well last year, they might enter again. And you might get other people entering this time. So fingers crossed, really.
What are you judging this contest on?
Well, we actually have 4 separate categories this year, as opposed to last year, which is just the best of the 2 separate themes. And I actually got the idea from Lego God, or Jared, who hosted a contest a while back, which actually got some really good entries. Like, people they might remember Hallie Nine's, oh god, what was it called? Good Company. They were all entries to that, and I thought, you know, heck, that's a really good idea. I might try that. So, of course, you have Best Overall, which is essentially, just as the title implies, you know, how well it's polished, what the idea is like, how scary it is. And then below that you have other categories, because I remember when it was OnionAnimations, he hosted one that was about horror. And of course you had the top 3, but none of them were particularly, you know, that scary. And then the 4th one that didn't actually get any prizes was called The Monkey's Paw. And that actually tried to be scary, and in some ways it succeeded, but it wasn't for the voice acting. But of course that had no category to go into it, so it didn't place in the prize giving category, so to speak. And then you have Most Creative Theme Interpretation, which is essentially, as the title implies, you know, it's who thinks of the best idea for one theme. And then Best Newcomer Award is actually a very interesting one that I thought of, mainly because, you know, if there are big people entering like Stan the Lego Man, you know, they'll have obviously the bigger chance. So anybody can apply for the Newcomer Award. It is admitting that, you know, you mightn't be the best brick filmer out there, but it does give you the chance to win, you know, a little bit of prizes, and it's also good for people who are newbies anyway, because it gives them a chance and something to strive for. So, yeah, that's really what we'll be hoping for.
And also, just another quick question. Who are the actual judges for the contest?
Well, most of them were picked both through who I think are mature judges and also who has experience. So you have Lucas, he hosted, well no, didn't host, he was a judge on the Mission Impossible contest. And he's also a great friend of mine, so, you know, I decided for him. Lego God, as I already mentioned, hosted the Halloween contest a few years back. Vic is a great horror fanatic, and he's very experienced with actual movies like that, so he's an ideal candidate. Myself, of course, Hazat, because he hosted the Easter contest, and also he is a mature member. And then Jonathan Williams as well, because I decided I'd pick just one extra for the sake of it. And then, of course, the people at Brick Warriors, who are the sponsors for this contest, I've also given them the opportunity, if they so wish, to be a judge. So I haven't heard any reply from them yet, but we'll see.
Now on to our film review. We are going to be reviewing Abduction 5 and Legando. So, Tobias, what were your thoughts on Abduction 5, if we start with that?
Well, I think that, that film, I don't know, it was the winner of the, of Brawl 2011, and I don't exactly think it should have won, but it was still pretty good, and I liked a lot the sets, especially in the rocket ship. Those were pretty cool. And then I always like how Jonathan Walken, also known as Nick Dern, mixes in the abduction series comedy with science fiction. I really like that idea. So yeah, that's what I think.
And how about you, Onion?
Well, I guess I'm one of the people, again, who thinks that really shouldn't win, because there's a lot of good entries, and I feel they got robbed a bit. But I think it was a very well polished entry. It had it did very well on technical aspects. I think in terms of story as a standalone film, it wasn't great. A bit like the Harry Potter series. For people who know them and like them, when you put them all together, they make perfect sense and you love them. And I guess it's kind of the same with this, but because it is just a singular film, it wouldn't do it for me, really. I don't think it did that much with the theme hidden, a person's hidden in an outfit. I think that's probably the lowest common one that you could have done. But yeah, I think for what it was, I think it was a pretty good entry.
Okay, now on to Legando. So what did you guys think about it?
Well, I thought it was a very interesting film on how he made it, since I'm not sure there's many, like, Zorro, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing if I'm saying that right, but kind of movies like that, so I think that was kind of interesting, since there is not many brick films like that, and I just love the animation.
How about you, Onion?
I must say I did really like it. I've come to like most of the stuff that Bionicle 27 has done, or I think it's 27. It's just like, since I first saw the first films from him, I thought, they're pretty good. They were Star Wars at the time, so they were a bit more original than the norm, but it still wasn't amazing because I'm so used to that sort of stuff. Then he slowly developed over the years, and now he's produced something of this quality. I mean, it has good animation, good effects, good everything, really. Different storyline. I think my only nitpick with it is that it had probably a little bit too many clever dialogue bits. For instance, the bit with the child and stuff like that. I felt that it dragged on. I know it's supposed to be comedy, but it dragged on a little too long. And it wasn't necessarily funny to my mind, but I could see what he was going for. So I will give the film a good rating, to be honest.
Okay, now we're going to interview Onion. So, Onion, when did you start brick filming?
God, it must have been a while back now. I'd say actually about 5 years, which may seem like a lie, I know, considering the quality of my stuff. But I guess I've just been doing it on and off since then, so I haven't been doing it, I haven't been doing every day, say, for that long. More like once every month I might do it, or something like that. But, it hasn't been continuous, really.
And why did you start brick filming?
I guess, well, actually, no, it was funny. I was watching my brother watching something on YouTube, and in the recommended bit, there was Blunty's circle, circle, dot, dot video. So we got that on, and I was like, because I love Lego, and I loved it at the time anyway. And I saw it, and I was like, oh my god, the Lego's moving.
Okay. And that's why...
Yeah, I guess that's what inspired me to start, so to speak, because I wanted to do that. I wanted to do it with the medium that I loved. I guess that's it. And then Nathan Wells was, of course, a massive inspiration. His video, Beast in particular, I was like, oh my god, that is the greatest thing ever. So I watched that and I thought, oh, you know, and I followed him ever since, and I still am, although now he's only playing Minecraft. And so I made a video like that, and of course, when I make a video, and when I make videos back then, they had a little bit of stop motion in them, but mainly they were basically just copies of the videos that I watched. Like, there wasn't any originality in them, but of course I didn't really care, because I wasn't publishing it to anybody, I was doing it for myself, and I liked them.
Oh, okay.
So I like, one of my earliest films I recollect, that was my own original stuff. No, in fact, it was my first film. There's this guy, and he goes into a cafe, and sits down with another guy, and they're talking. And then he orders something, and then he gets it, and it's like, I don't know, some sort of drink, and whatever. And he turns into a monster, and he eats everybody in the cafe. But what I mean by animation is that there's, you know, an ordinary base plate there, and he walks, but he doesn't walk. He's literally just flicks. He's at the beginning of the base plate, halfway through the base plate, at the end of the base plate. There's no animation really involved. It's just frame, 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 like that.
Oh, okay.
So,
What made you want to make the contests like Festival of Souls, which are now rather popular with Brickfilmers members?
I don't know particularly. I wanted to be popular. I thought, well, heck, let's do a contest because nobody else is doing a Halloween one, and you know, September Festival have ended, so why don't I get in there before another newbie decides to do one? That was about it, really.
And we did this in our last podcast with Hazza. What advice would you give to a person who is new to brick filming?
When you're starting off, don't aim to please anybody else. And that's not to say don't take criticism, but make exactly what you want to make. No matter what it is, you will be proud of it, and that will give you motivation enough to do more. So it is really practice, 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 but that's the last thing you want to hear when you're doing it. You want to have something to be able to be done now. So make what you want, however bad it is. And then when you're ready to start taking criticism, when you think, you know, you're good enough, then just make something that the best thing you can think you can make. Then post it out there, receive whatever feedback, criticism, work on it, and then just keep getting better. It would be good, actually, I must say, to start off with something like Logitech. It might be, a bit of money, and your parents mightn't like you spending money on something that you haven't done, but if you get something like that, then it will help you, and it will give you so much confidence when your stuff starts looking like, the people out there that you aspire to be like. So, yeah, I guess that's all to be said, really.
Okay, now we were actually going to interview Jonathan Williams, J Studios, but unfortunately he had to go, so he will be on next week with Lucas and our panel, which is Onion, and Tobias. So that's actually it for the podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you again to Tobias and Onion. And remember to join us next week. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
I grew tired of anime, then one night, liked things, and then said, I'm back, yeah. Blacked out planes, looked at things, scripted, ate and drink. I'm back, yeah.